In this video I will show you my gate settings. Recently I've been asked how I address the topic of cancelling hum and noise when tracking guitars, and in reality I don't do that much about it, but what I do use is the input gate in the AxeFx. So I prepared this for you. You can see in the AxeFx III the input block has a dedicated gate section, and I'm using the classic gate type. And for those of you who are not so familiar with that kind of effects like gates, limiters or compressors, these effects are a little bit more difficult to dial in than maybe static effects like equalizers, because these effects like gates, they react to the level of the signal, so you have to adjust them. And in this case you have to determine when the gate should open at which level of your guitar. Usually people want the gate to open when they're playing, and they want to have it closed when they're not playing. So as you can see, if I turn the gate off, you immediately hear this humming and the floor noise which is coming from the amp and the drive block. And what I do is I raise the threshold so that of course the hum is cancelled. It's at maybe minus 60-70 dB, and then a little bit more just to make sure that no hum is coming through, also if the hum gets a little bit louder sometimes. So I'm setting it to minus 55 dB, and the other important thing for me is that the gate doesn't affect my playing, because the thing with the input gate is if you set it too high, if you set the threshold too high, then it will cut off notes when you're playing, and this is in some situations not wanted. In other situations it can be an effect that you like, but in my situation, as I'm mostly a lead player, I want to play or be able to play, for example, legato lines like, and if I'm not picking the note, like in this case with the legato lines, the signal is not that high, but still I want the gate to open. For example, if I set the threshold maybe higher, like to minus 26 or something, if I'm playing legato, the gate is not opening. So in other words, you cannot play legato with this setting. And so you have to adjust the threshold to your playing. The other knobs you can see here, they're also important for a good result. For example, the attack, that basically how fast the gate is opening, and I set it as fast as it gets because I want that immediately if I'm playing the gate is opening, otherwise there's no mean if I'm playing. And the release is basically the knob that says where the time that the gate needs to close again. Not so important in this case, because after I'm playing, it's I can tolerate 100 milliseconds. But you can experiment with that. And the last knob is the ratio here, and if you're familiar, you may find that a little bit high. In a studio setting I wouldn't set the ratio that high. I would choose maybe a ratio about 2 or 4. But I found out that in a live situation where you play with loud volumes, a higher ratio is also addressing the problem of feedbacks. So in other words, if you have pickups or a guitar sound that causes feedbacks a lot, then you can try to raise the ratio and still keep the threshold rather low, like I do it. And then it might help to kill feedbacks. So that's basically it, what I'm doing with the input gate. I know there other approaches to use a gate. For example, some people are using gate after a drive block or after the amp block, maybe also in the effects loop of an amp. And maybe I can show you what they're doing when they use the gate in this position. So I entered the gate block here after the amp, so the signal is already distorted, and mostly you see this when people are trying to get rhythm guitars and get they want to make their chugging tight. For example, if I deactivate it and if I play chugs, you can hear there's a lot of hum and also a lot of floor noise coming after I hit the note. What they intend to do is they want to get a sound which is dead on immediately, like if you are muting with your hand. And you can do this by using a gate. Also, you have to set the parameters like before: ratio, attack time, hold time. But the trick is you can trigger the gate with the input, which is selected here. So it's usually not triggered by the signal coming from the amp. It's triggered to open by the signal it's coming from your guitar, which is a little bit earlier than the signal here. And so you can make sure that when you are playing, the gate will open already. And of course, these blocks, they need a little bit of time to compute the signal. And as the signal arrives at the gate, it will be open. So you can trigger this by, in this case, the input signal. And of course, you have to adjust the threshold and the other parameters. In this case, I also set a very fast attack time because I want the gate to open immediately. Also, I want the gate to close immediately. So I set the release time also very fast. This is the important thing here, because after the chug you want the gate to kill everything except you. And well, the threshold we have to adjust. So it's not working. I'll try to do it a little bit better. So as you can hear now, it's dead on right after pick the note. Of course, this is something which is mostly important when you're playing very percussive riffs and when you're chugging. But if you're playing leads, you will run into problems because the notes will not sustain. As you can hear, they're cut off after a while. And also, if you have some sections as a rhythm player where you want you want to get a feedback out of the guitar, or you want to let some chords ring, as you can hear, then suddenly the gate is working and the sound disappears. So with this approach, it's I think it's rather difficult to use it in a lead situation. I hope you can understand my approach of using the input gate and also using a gate after the amp block. Please leave your comments below, hit like or subscribe, send me cash or show me your girlfriends. Yeah, well, see you soon. Bye.